Hi there, good evening. Delighted to be joined by John Reimold. John, good evening.
Good evening to you. Good afternoon to me, I guess, since we got a 6 hour time difference between the two of us.
So where are you seated right
Right
now?
now, I am in Jacksonville, Florida, visiting.
Jack.
I live in Long Island in New York, though.
Aha. So what? So if you're a New Yorker down south, you're one of these snowbirds, right?
Well, down south, no, we got palm trees everywhere here. It's 95 degrees Fahrenheit in the 30s Celsius. I don't have to do that conversion anymore since I moved back to America. In New York, it's hot too, but in the winter, yeah, snowbird city.
Okay. Let's go back in time. Where are you from in the
I'm
US?
from Western Pennsylvania, which it's south of New York State. And I grew up on 150 acres of farmland. My closest neighbor was almost a mile away. So, I grew up basically, you could say, the middle of nowhere.
And basketball. Did you discover that you were good as a kid?
Well, I always thought I was good because I was practicing by myself and I was pretending I was Michael Jordan. So I thought I was the greatest thing ever. But, when I started playing against other kids and, all the practice that I put in from loving the game, I could see it pay off. And that just, fueled me to want to practice more. So that's what I did. And, I've always been, one of the better players for my age. At least I always was.
And you managed to navigate into the college scene?
Yeah, I progressed through grade school, high school, and then I was lucky enough to be recruited by a lot of Division I colleges, and I picked Bowling Green, which I felt was the best fit for me. And I had some success there, and that had a lot to do with why I got to play professionally in Europe.
Yeah, so did somebody spot you and say, "Hey, John, come to this side of the Atlantic"?
Well, the way I ended up in Luxembourg was one of my college teammates. His name was Josh Almanson. He played for Contern, and he played with Ken Dieterich, who, is Mr. Basketball over there, national team coach. He's done everything, you can think of, was one of the best players Luxembourg has ever seen. So I got to know Ken. We kind of clicked talking online through my friend Josh. So we had a mutual friend. And then when I decided, I wanted to resurrect my basketball career, I contacted him, and he's the one that helped me out and, stuck his neck out for me, actually, because I hadn't played for 2 years. And he got me a chance tryout with Solver. And so I played there for 1 year. And then from there, I got a chance to go to Esch. And then actually, I spent a lot of years in Esch, and then I got to finish my career. I played with Ken Dieterich and Esch for 1 year. And we had a great time with that. And then I got to finish my career at Steinsel, where Ken was actually my coach.
Now, were you shocked to discover that Luxembourg had such a vibrant basketball scene?
Yeah, I was. I always knew Luxembourg, over here for some reason. I never did, but most people think it's a part of Germany. And I knew Luxembourg from, the banking and that, it was the main thing that we know about Luxembourg over here. And when I got over there, and Solver at the time was National 2, but the fans, were so passionate and everybody cared so much, I was actually kind of, taken aback by the passion for the basketball over there, in a very good way.
And I mean, and you had a good time here yourself, living here, didn't you?
Absolutely. I loved it there. I loved my time, everywhere I went, when I played for Solver, when I played for Esch, and then when I played for Steinsel, I went through injuries, there were so many great people that helped me through the injuries that I met, teammates, coaches, even opponents, I became good friends with. And, I have nothing bad to say about Luxembourg at all positive. I loved it there. And, it's a great country. And I make sure I tell everybody that has any interest in me here and my life story, all about Luxembourg.
Okay. And so you came to the end of your career. Yeah. I guess, did your knees start giving way? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah. I missed, most of a season in Esch back in 2011-12. And then I tried to come back in 2012-13, and I had no cartilage in my knee. So I couldn't do it. I was playing on one leg, and, Esch was fiercely loyal to me, and I can't say enough good things about, my old coach, who was also a national team coach, Franck Mariguet, Paul Schulte, Claude Baird. Those guys were just stuck with me way longer than anyone else could have or would have. But finally, I couldn't even walk for a week after I would play a game. And I had to come back to the United States and, have a procedure done and then rehab really hard. And then Ken, gave me another chance, when he became the coach at Steinsel, and he, we're very good friends, and he trusted me enough that I had rehabbed hard enough to give me another chance to play for him at Steinsel.
Fantastic. Now, what was happening off the court for you in Luxembourg? Did you have many relationships?
Yeah, I made a lot of friends there. Luxembourg City's, gorgeous. The nightlife, it was fun. And the basketball community in Luxembourg, it's very unique in that, yeah, you're competitive and you're playing against people, but you're always playing against people that and that you're going to see around town. You're going to see on the weekends. And so it's not like, there's any animosity. You're playing against friends, but it's very competitive people. So on the court, it's a battle, and you'll do anything. But, when you see them later, your best friends, you give them, a handshake, and you have a drink together. It's fun.
Okay. So then you came to the end of your Luxembourg time. What triggered your move back to the States?
Well, my career ended, unfortunately, with 2 Game 3 losses in the Luxembourgish finals, both years to Dudelange. Both years, Game 3 of the finals was, the only 2 times that I was on the Steinsel team that lost on our home court. So, but at the same time, I was 35. I knew my knees, weren't working anymore. And it was time for me, because I had a daughter on the way. She was my daughter Mira was born 4 days after the last game that I played. And I, immediately went into a mode like, I have a child now. I see myself getting, worse all every day. This isn't sustainable. I need to get a job, where I can support my family, so it was all those things coalesced, and that's where, why I came back and my career had to end.
So you went back to the States with your wife and child?
Well, actually,
and
I came back first. I came back because I had no employment, right? And my daughter's mother, Katie Donovan, who is a basketball player over there for a long time, she was employed in Luxembourg as a teacher. And I had to come over to the States first and get, a sustainable job before, they could come back over. And that's, what happened. I went on
So tell me, what jobs do ex-basketball players do?
well, the ex-basketball players, over here, one good thing about that is you got interesting stories to tell. You've been all over the place. So any job that, requires any type of sale, I'm not, it's not a boast or anything, but I've got an interesting background and it's memorable, and, people are happy to see you again because it breaks up the monotony of their day. So it was like a natural fit, for me to be in sales. And I was lucky enough, just like I was with Ken in Luxembourg, to have the connection. My college roommate, who was a basketball teammate of mine in college, was doing great in his line of work, which is liquor sales. And he was able to stick his neck out for me and give me an opportunity to prove myself in this industry, which, that worked out for me too. So
congratulations.
I'm very lucky that I've been blessed with very good friends, my whole life.
Right. So you're now over in the States, you're selling liquor, job's going well. Tell me about the wife and child. What happened?
Yeah. So I bought a home on Long Island on the water. I run New York for a liquor company. And, unfortunately, it didn't work out. And, we tried, things happen. And Katie and my daughter Mira moved back to her hometown, which is Kingston, Ontario, which is roughly 500 miles, 800 kilometers from where I had purchased the home for us to live in. And so they moved back there. And so I was faced with, a pretty big separation geographically from my daughter. But, that's, when you're a father, you do anything for your kids. I wasn't that geographic separation. I grew to enjoy traveling up there to see her and make the best of it. So it's what, I tried to do.
So effectively, you were the one who had to do the driving or the traveling up to meet her.
Well, yeah, for 4 years, every other Thursday, I would drive the 9 hours up to Kingston, Ontario, and I would pick my daughter up on Friday mornings, and I would have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with her, and I would drop her back off at her mother's home on Sunday afternoon or evening, and then I would drive 9 hours back to my home. And I did that every other weekend. And luckily at my job, I had kind of an understanding with my boss that, me taking off every other Thursday and Friday from work is something that normally wouldn't be allowed. But the weekends that I was here, I worked on the weekends. So I would be able to travel to see my daughter.
And would you describe your relationship with your ex? Was it one of these splits where it's still sort of convivial and people are getting along, or was it a difficult split?
Jim, you are Luxembourgish and I am a native English speaker, and your vocabulary is amazing. I don't even know what convivial means.
Well, was it the kind of thing where could you get to a point where you were friends again? Or was it so difficult that was really not on the cards?
Well, we had, it's better to have two parents that care a great deal than parents that don't care, right? So we both wanted as much time with Mira because she's so amazing. So it kind of, led to, some disagreements and some, some issues parenting. But, the bottom line is Mira has two parents that love her very much and would do anything for her.
Okay, I'm going to bring in my visual aid now. I'm going to bring in The Magic Hotel, which I know is a book that you authored. Tell us, what inspired you to write this?
That book, since 95% of the time that I spent with my daughter, because of the separation, the distance, when I drove to Canada, she couldn't come to my house, too far away. We stayed in a hotel. And when you stay in a hotel, it's not home. You got a little room, but you have to do things, to make it interesting, especially with a young child. So that hotel, that we stayed at, I stayed at pretty much the same hotel every time. We came up with all kinds of fun imagination games to play, where, it got to the point where she loved going to the hotel and I loved going to the hotel. And, it didn't matter what the circumstances were. We were happy to be together, and we made the hotel the best place, where me and her were both as happy as we could be. That was, the best times that I've had were, with my daughter in that hotel playing games.
I mean, it sounds as though this was a bit of escapism for both of you in a way.
Well, yeah. If the only place that I get to see her is a hotel, I'm associating that hotel with total happiness. And that's the only time that she saw her dad, was at the hotel. And, I knew that I had a limited amount of time with her, 3 days every 2 weeks. So I made sure that every moment that we had together, we were living life to the fullest, having as much fun, and making as many memories as we possibly could, which was a blessing in a way. I never took anything for granted because of that. And that's why me and her have, a very strong relationship still today.
Now, of course, the whole world was hit with this crazy pandemic, sort of 2019, 2020. How much did that have an impact on your ability to meet up with your daughter?
Well, it's tough to even try to quantify it. I dropped her off at school on Monday, March 2nd, 2020. And I have seen her one time since then. And that was over Christmas this year. She got to fly back and see my family. So it's been 2.5 years, and I went from seeing her every other weekend to, I talk to her twice a week on FaceTime. It's not the same, but I don't really get to see her anymore. During COVID, all international custody agreements were suspended, right? So it was up to the parents, to work things out. And I was, unable to see her during COVID after that March 2nd, 2020. And during COVID, it hit everybody hard. Her mom decided that she thought that it was best to move back to Luxembourg. So during COVID, she moved from Kingston, Ontario, back to Luxembourg, where she's now employed as a phys ed teacher, and Mira's living over there. And Mira moved back there on August 8th, 2021. So it had been 18 months since, I saw her, and just cruel twist of fate, the international border between the United States and Canada opened up on August 9th. So one day after, I would have been able to see her, she was across the ocean.
So it sounds as though your ex is kind of planning a future without you.
Well, yeah, I fought the move as hard as I could. I was prepared to move to Canada. I had job offers in Canada. I did everything I could, because I thought that was a great place, and our daughter was thriving. I was going to do whatever it took to to keep them there, but unfortunately, the judge thought that the opportunity to be a phys ed teacher was, such a great opportunity that he allowed the move to happen. And Luxembourg's a wonderful place. I've said that. It's just basically impossible for me to see my daughter now. I can't take weekend excursions to Europe. You lose a day when you travel, the time difference in the flight, and it's made it really, really tough.
How can it possibly be a good thing for your daughter to be living in another continent?
Well, that's something that myself and my daughter's mother disagreed on, is how important it is for a father to be there in her life. I was devastated when the move was allowed to happen, because I won't be able to see her play sports. I won't be able to attend school events, but like I've, always done, like we did with the hotel, I'll make the best of the time that I do have. That's why I'm planning on moving to Florida, because my entire family is down here. And my daughter actually has 7 little girl cousins within 3 to 4 years age difference of her. And they're all going to be living here in Florida. So instead of it just being me and her, for 130 days a year, it'll be less days, but it'll be one big, happy family when I do get to see her again. So,
John, just to conclude, am I right in thinking in a way that this book really it's sort of like is it a message?
That book is absolutely, based on the 100% true story of me and my daughter. And I had offers from publishing companies. They loved the book and they wanted it, but I was not going to ever let anybody take such, an important story for me and for Mira and put their take on it. So I paid the artists to make the characters in the book look exactly like me and her, as close as they could. The imagination games that we played in the hotel are the exact ones that, are in the book. And if you open it up on the front page, it says this book is dedicated to my daughter, Mira, which, yeah, it is a message. It is, your dad loves you. Here's our story. I not only want you to know it, I want the world to know it. And, because all you have at the end of the day, the kids grow up and all you have is the memories that you made with them. So the book basically is about making every moment count. And, I'm actually really proud of, the time, effort, money that I put in to have such a great relationship with my daughter now. Because if it wasn't for the Magic Hotel and, all that time we spent together, I have a hard time thinking that any, 5, 6, 7-year-old would want to FaceTime, for over an hour at a time. But now we do the same thing. We play games over FaceTime, and we make every moment count the best we can. And you got to, play the cards you're dealt.
Absolutely. And John, on that note, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Jim. This afternoon for me, evening for you. I want to thank you, for giving me the opportunity to talk about the book. And, I hope, people over there, I still got a lot of friends over there. I got, my daughter's over there. She's participating in Luxembourg, youth basketball right now. She goes to school there. So, the connection, with Reimolds in Luxembourg is still alive and well. And
absolutely,
I hope people give it a read, and I'm going to be over there to visit my daughter and my old friends, as often as I can possibly get there. So.
And the book is available on Amazon.de. John, thank you. We look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you, Jim.